Welcome to the Indie Author Spotlight, where we interview indie authors about upcoming releases as well as life as an author, presented to you by Books, Brews, and Dogs. You can visit booksbrewsanddogs.com, purchase a blind date with a book, and support animal rescue efforts. Books, Brews, and Dogs is where you can buy a book and save a dog or a cat. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Indie Author Spotlight. We're here with Jaeson Drake. And I'm really excited about this interview because I know him personally. He has been my DM for our Dungeons and Dragons campaign that lasted what?
Oh, geez. We survived COVID. We started
Right.
before COVID, played through, had to transition over to Discord,
Mm-hmm.
finally got back on the table. Then somebody had to move out to California.
Well, life happens.
Life does happen,
We've
but
still been playing through Discord and stuff occasionally, but things have just been busy.
tell me about it. I started publishing.
And I was just going to say, because someone decided he'd finally publish some of these stories in his head. So you have kind of always been a good storyteller, and I can say that because I've been in your DM campaigns and you flesh those campaigns out so thoroughly, so detailed that it's so much fun to play a game with you.
Well,
Because
thank you.
and with my wandering brain, it actually helped me stay a little more on task, even though it probably took you guys some time to realize it's just my brain wanders.
And honestly, you brought a lot of great energy and some absolute comedic gold moments to the campaign that just enriched the entire world.
Should
So,
we should we have planned to have chicken wings in front of us for this?
that would have been hilarious. That would have absolutely been hilarious if we would have thought ahead and put a Buffalo Wild Wings order in.
Yeah, that would have. Oh man. Um, so, a little bit of context for everybody else. My character basically invented and taught a NPC how to make chicken wings because my character was always high. Which is even funnier because I don't smoke or get high, but she was always hungry.
And
I don't even
one
know
and
how.
I still remember this exchange when one of the players who played a gruff ranger with a Russian accent came to Rebecca's character and was explaining that they had just gotten a gig, had just gotten a mission, and was explaining the kind of mission it was, and then he says to Rebecca about what the payment is, and then in one line that just absolutely kind of derailed the table for a good 5 minutes because we just could not contain the laughter. She goes, "That's a lot of chicken wings."
I don't even know why that's what came out. But it started the whole thing and the whole rest of the campaign that was a thing in the
There were a lot of like things that just kind of built on and just added to the world, to the story, and it was an absolute joy to
yeah.
guide Rebecca and the party through this multi-year epic.
Oh man, I can't.
and
And we
and
had a few people come and go, but
we
there
did.
was our core group stayed. Um,
Yes,
the core group was there. We were there for it. And we had a couple people that show up for a few weeks and then disappear. And
but the core four, well, I don't count myself as the core four. I'm just saying the players. The core four players we made every available session. We were there throughout the whole thing. We had a lot of really interesting growth in the character, in a lot of the characters. I subjected them to some terrible accents, and
Oh, um, yeah, it was just so much fun. We just had such a good time. I feel like we should earn feat points in life just for being able to accomplish that through so many years.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We
And
need
it
we
can't be that
definitely
hard.
need to get, you get the gold star of you went from level 1 to level 20 in a 5th edition campaign. It took you 7 years, but you did it.
We did. We did. So, before we get carried away, because we could probably talk about that campaign for as long as it lasted, uh, um,
Yes, we could.
let's talk about why we haven't been able to play. And we haven't been able to play because you've been busy putting out novels.
Well, I wouldn't say
Or, well, not novels,
novels. They're
like short
definitely in that
stories.
novelletta, short story, almost
Yeah.
novella type stuff.
Yeah, they're really short, they're really small, but it's still something that takes time. You have your day job outside of this and you have, you know, family
I
outside of
do.
this. So that all takes a lot of time.
It
And
does.
but you've been telling stories for a very long time because you taught your kids how to play D&D and you've been playing D&D with them throughout their life. Um, and so you've been storytelling for a long time. So what was it that finally got you to say, screw it, I'm gonna go ahead and publish?
I think it was just, I hate to say it was a whim, but that was part of it. I met just via discords and just kind of just like, this. I met somebody who was an active person, an active public being someone being published currently on Kindle. And I said, "Hey, I've got this book, and hey, and this kind of thing." And they were like, "Publishing on Kindle's easy. Just fill out the stuff." I'm like, "Really?" Oh, I don't know if the microphone picked up my mocking of key typing there.
It did.
Okay, good. And I looked at it, and it's like, "Oh, really? Yeah. God, I suck at writing blurbs." That's actually the struggle for me. Is actually, I was like, I'm sitting there. I've written the story. I've enjoyed the characters. I've enjoyed the situations. It's time to write the blurb, and I'm like, dang, I don't know how what the language filter is on your podcast.
Oh,
So
if you cuss, I just tell it that to not show it to anyone under 18. Um,
okay, okay,
don't cuss, then I just don't put that on it. So,
gotcha, gotcha. Sorry for that. So it's like, yeah, it's like I don't
and I
know if
think
I
it's
could.
really only if you say the F word that I have to put that filter on.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, you know me that there are times that I could cuss like a sailor.
Oh, I usually do, but I think because I've started working with the public again at the grocery store that the filters kind of come back, so I just
It
try to apply that.
it does. It does. And but it is that kind of like public face, and even though that I'm writing like some kind of naughty material at the moment,
Kind of naughty.
maybe a little.
I mean, it kind of gets there right off the bat in that first one you publish.
And the second and the third.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking like 3 pages in and it's already started. But
Surprise.
to be fair on that, they are really short. Like I was able to read that first one in a few hours. Um,
That one's about 8,500 words.
Yeah, so they're not super long. They're quick reads, they're easy. There's a lot of things that go into it. And I was actually when I re-listened to it, because I have the Kindle read it to me, when I re-listened to it, I was kind of like, there's so much to flesh out in this book. I hope he comes back to it. Like, because
Thank you.
there's so much in that story you can flesh out and explore that I really hope you kind of go back to it, because there's, it's a succubus. So I'm horrible with names. You know that though, because
Yeah,
I forgot my character's name in D&D, and
we forgave you.
um so
But we did give you hell about it.
oh yeah, well, deservedly so. How do you forget your own character's name?
It's written down.
I know. I I do say in almost interview, I am bad with names, and this is just proof that I am bad with even names I create. So
Yeah. So my first published piece on Kindle under my Jaeson Drake pen name is The Accidental Succubus.
yes, that so that's the one we're talking about now.
Okay.
And that is, she doesn't know what she is at first in this book, and she discovers it through the crush that she has, who's also forbidden love. And which seems to be a theme, because the second one kind of has that. So the forbidden love is kind of a theme right now.
You kind of like hang your hat on a few kind of things, and if you especially in this milieu, and if you can hang your hat and just make that your, I guess, brand,
Mm-hmm.
you can they say that that's a really good way to build an audience, is just making sure that you kind of keep to a consistent set. My current piece does that I'm working on right now. I've This one is definitely going to be my longest by far piece, and I have just like word check. Okay, I gotta take out the title page, gotta take out the okay, how many words is in that copyright disclaimer? Okay, all right, no, that's it. Okay. Oh yeah, and why does it count the freaking chapter headers as words? They're just numbers. They're word. Okay. All right. All right. 13,000 words. Oh, my couple hasn't kissed yet.
So definitely a lot more flesh to this one.
Much more, much more. My current piece, my first three, well, my first two are definitely just focused in on the couple.
Mm-hmm.
The pairing. The first one has a few throwaway characters, that kind of just to kind of like flesh out the world a little bit. The second one is just, yeah, there's a tertiary character that kind of shows up, and there's like a little bit of scene setting characters in the second piece. Unlikely Muses is the second book. But it still focuses on the couple. The third one, I expand out my cast a little bit, and kind of give my heroine a more of a more of a little bit of a family on the side,
Mm-hmm.
where you kind of meet, and you meet her father and you meet her brothers again, but they're not germane to the plot. My current book that I'm working on, I am juggling a cast of there's like 7 characters that I've developed
Oh,
in this one. And so you give each one of their and so you've got 7 different voices going on in my head, going on at the same time, and just like you're just writing, okay, it's not your turn yet. And so this one that I'm currently working on, has been an absolute slog in the best possible way.
Nice.
You know, because
Yeah, so you sent me a little teaser of that to kind of test out how the interaction between two of the characters was, and
yes,
a little bit of that relationship,
yes,
to see if it was headed in the right direction for what you were.
that was about 10,000 words ago.
I know it took me a while before I got to it. It wasn't even that big of a little teaser, but it's just with as much as I have going
Oh
on.
yeah. No, I just appreciate that you took the time to look at it.
Yeah, of course. And so I got a little bit of a feel of the relationships you're trying to build between one of the main characters and someone that's important to her life that is going to end up playing an important part in the book, and you can get kind of a feel for that because this is definitely a character that she's going to look to for support when things hit the fan a little bit before the happily ever after, or however you
Right.
ending this when it comes along. So it's definitely intrigued me. I am gonna have to learn some musical terms because I'm not familiar with music terms. And
Okay. We
definitely
can talk about
first
this.
in there, I was like,
The
wait, I don't know what that means. And I was like, oh, it is about a band. And one
Yep.
of the main characters is in a band. So there's a lot of musical terms being thrown around in there that, and I don't know anything about music other than I like it or I don't.
Yeah, my current main character is a drummer in a 5-piece band, and she is she and the father of one of her students are going to be the eventual couple.
Hmm. Do you have a title for this book yet, or are you?
I'm still kind of workshopping it. I'm kind of settled on Rhythm of Angels
Mm-hmm.
as the title for it. It's gone through a few permutations, but I think Rhythm of Angels is what I'm going to settle on.
Okay. We'll see if that's accurate by the time you're closer to the middle.
If I change it, I change it. But I think that it fits. I think it fits because, like I said, it is about a drummer. Um, they so I've had to not only so I've had to come up with the drummer's voice, the bassist's voice, the lead guitarist's voice, the rhythm guitarist's voice, the front man's voice. And this is even before I talk about the romantic lead's voice,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and how all these disparate voices interact and kind of collide or mesh and things like that. So I've been doing a lot of my backspace key has gotten a lot of work out.
So that kind of segues us into my next line of thought here, which is, um, what is that writing process for you? Right. So you wrote a lot of campaigns, not just for Dungeons and Dragons, but you do Warhammer campaigns and
Warhammer is not really a campaign or that kind
okay.
of game.
Yeah, I don't
So
know
it's
that
it's
much
it's it's
about
it's just you show up with your army, they show up with their army. You go, hey, we're going to play this mission. Okay, let's play this mission,
it.
and that kind of thing.
Okay.
So and then you roll a lot of dice, and then your dice hate you.
I know that feeling well. I think there was one game we had where it was like I could not roll anything above a 3.
I
Like
remember that,
fire.
and then there was all the comedy moments of the natural one that kept showing up.
Oh man. Yeah. So uh so
But yeah, so
anyway,
my
moving
my
past that.
process my process is I ask myself a lot of questions.
Mhm.
I I hate to I hate to think about this as kind of like sometimes when you're doing a writing, you are the ultimate method actor. You are really exploring, even in this milieu. I believe that if you are going to write characters, even if you use like stock tropes and stock archetypes, I've used this analogy before. I am not okay. Backing up the wagon for a second, let me gather my thoughts. Tropes are not a pejorative.
Mm-hmm.
Tropes in any kind of media, they are the hammer, saws, lumber, and nails of your project. It is. That's exactly what they are. Now, tropes being just tools or raw materials that you're drawing from, you can build a lean-to, you can build a cookie cutter suburbia,
Mm-hmm.
you can build a bespoke mansion out of hammers, nails, lumbers, and saws.
Right.
You know, so for me, like I said, if something says, "Hey, I recognize all these tropes," you're like, "Well, yeah." The thing is, can you build something out of them that that your readers are really going to resonate with?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that is a lot of the process. I'm working on a fantasy novel that you've read the first couple of chapters to. Um, that I started a couple of years ago, actually. And my first 3 months of even before putting the first word to paper was I filled up a notebook of just me asking myself questions like, how does this magic system work? What's the political spectrum like? Why should I care about this character? What names do I like for my female lead? Now that brings an interesting point. I'll get to that in a second. What is my setting like? That's another interesting point. I'll cabbage off of that too. Um, and then you're just kind of building and asking and you're just in this constant state of refinement. And this is and even when I wrote the D&D campaign, you've seen the 3 volumes of D&D notes.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
so even if I don't write a bunch of stuff down for like one of these little short stories, that those things are still percolating in my head. Yes, I'm using tropes. Yes, I'm using stock characters. So did Shakespeare.
Yeah.
But
Well,
also so did Joe Schmo, the short story writer, that kind of thing.
yeah. 'Cause, I mean, in reality, it's how you use it because it's hard to get away from writing a book and not having a single trope in it. There's,
There are no, ever since Epic of Gilgamesh, there have been no unique tropes. And, there were probably tropes before Epic of Gilgamesh, but we don't have any written evidence of them.
yeah. So, we we use what we have and the tools that we have. So, since you had started writing the fantasy novel years
Yes.
ago, and
Yes.
I've read some of that, and it is really good, and I'm really excited to see the day you finally get that worked out.
I still have it right here.
Um, and what was it? Because the novels that you put out, they're a paranormal aspect to them.
Well, the first one,
The first one, and then
the others are much more just like modern contemporary.
yeah, and then see, and I've only just started reading the second one you put out, and I haven't even had a chance to go to the third one, so I hadn't gotten all the way through them.
Right.
But the first one is definitely a paranormal one, and but they're spicy. They're spicy books. Spicy. And that so what made you go from this fantasy world that you were building to saying, hey, why don't I go ahead and write a spicy novel or no short story? And then you wrote the first one and then you immediately put two more out after that. It was like it just the inspiration hit right after you got that first one out.
It did, and publishing's addictive. I like publishing. It's fun because you're looking at that and you're like counting down the little minutes between when something goes from like in progress or in review to publishing to live, you know, that kind of thing. So it I like publishing. And also these books or these short stories, hell, this one I'm currently on will definitely be novella or longer by the time I get around to it. Um, it's a great way to keep the brain rolling, keep the writing chops up. Can I create these scenarios that are genuine? And I like the term genuine and over real in storytelling
Mm-hmm.
because when you're dealing in story mode and storytelling, there are a bunch of absolutely cannot be any remotely close to real,
Mm-hmm.
but it can be genuine. Genuine in the world, the emotional impacts of the characters can be
Yeah.
genuine. You know, that's why I think when people say, I want real, I want a story to feel real, they don't really mean feel real. They mean as in like the standard mundanity, banality of life. They want it to feel genuine. Does it connect?
Yeah. The I actually just talked about this in the previous interview I did, which will actually be released after yours. Uh, the way schedules work sometimes is just the way it goes. Um, they we kind of talked on that a little bit, that it's about how we connect emotionally to characters, and that when we read a book and we're completely devastated by it at the end, it's because we could feel those characters because we were able to experience that experience with them, either because we've been through something similar, obviously not exact, especially if we're talking about these crazy mafia filled romances or fantasy worlds, with elves and dragons, and
Right.
we
Like
live that
I
in.
had actually had a conversation about this
It's
very
so
concept with somebody at work.
yeah,
I'm sorry, we're talking over each other.
it's okay. It's our D&D, our D&D problem all over again. Um,
um,
Go ahead.
but yeah, I actually had this conversation with somebody, at my workplace. And when I brought up the concept of like real versus genuine, and honestly, the first character that popped up into my head was Gollum.
That's a good.
Gollum is absolutely unreal.
Yeah.
He comes from an unreal world. He's an unreal being. His the way he got to be Gollum is completely unreal. Now, however, his self-loathing, his inner turmoils, his violence, that is 100% genuine.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm not saying that I'm anywhere near the professor in terms of my writing ability or writing style, but that's kind of like some of that's especially the realization that I'm putting into my latest piece, the one that's in progress, and the one I'm trying to get back into when I'm on the fantasy novel as well, which is on hold because I ran into a bit of world building that I didn't think of, and it was one of those world building moments where you're like, shit.
What do I do with this?
Oh no, it's the more of the shit of, oh man, I really didn't think of this at all. Ah, crap. And it's a major world building piece for the story. Okay. Like I said, my novel is a fantasy book, and it's a low spell casting but high magic universe. So I thought about like the the area's religion, about how it functioned with its relationship with magic, how it functioned in the political spheres of this world, what this religion did, how, as far as like this is how it trained magic users, that kind of thing. But I never developed a single thing about the god, the belief tenets, how the religion affects people on a daily basis,
Mm-hmm.
any liturgies from the religion. I was just thinking in terms of pure function. And then I was writing this religious festival, and I was like, okay, this is the religious festival. This is the big religious festival of the year. I'm writing it, and I'm thinking about, and I'm on this really ground level view of the main characters and some supporting characters that have shown up a few times, and then I introduce the religious leader of the area, and he's going to get up and he's going to give a homily, and I have no clue what he's about to say.
And then the realization hits.
Because of I missed that important personal level of what a belief system does for a community, and for for a community and for an individual on a personal level. And I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
But so I put that on the side, and just to keep the writing brain going, I started writing these spicy stories. And if I can make a spicy story beyond the spice, and even touch in a little bit of some good characterization or some good imagery outside the spicy descriptions, to where that even though that these are very stock, very tropey events, if I can do a little subversion on the tropes or do a little bit of interesting character work, I'd be very pleased with myself.
Yeah. Well, they've been doing well enough.
People have been reading them.
They
I
have.
would love to get more people to read them, but
I
that's
think
just
that's
the
every indie author's goal is more people, please.
I my first one dropped on the 6th of November last year. And you know, according to my stuff, I can actually get a fairly decent bottle of wine.
Nice.
you know,
Nice.
I'll have to like,
That's impressive for, because you haven't even really done your
oh
Instagram.
yeah,
You created it, but you haven't really posted on it yet. You're still really building a lot of this stuff out.
yeah, I haven't done the hustle yet.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
it's really good. Of course, I'm gonna give myself a little bit of credit here, whether I don't know if it's 100% true, but I'm just gonna go for it. I did post it to all of the little indie authors. What do I have
your collection, your collection of close indie authors.
right,
You opened the Rolodex.
my little collection. Maybe I just formed sentences. But some of these authors are amazing. They have written a lot of books. Some of them do it full time. Some of them don't. Um, you know,
That's the eventual goal, is
right.
to transition, because I'm close to hanging it up at my current job. I've been there for God knows how long.
Well,
And
since
I'm
before I've known you, and we've known each other for what, 10 years now?
at least. And after several misadventures with various would-be startups, um, I've circled back around to one of my true loves, which is storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
People ask me, "Well, how long have you been writing?" I was like, "Well, since I could hold a crayon." you
Yeah.
know, um, and the ease and the democratization of publishing, and just being able to actually get a little bit of validation of cha-ching
Mm-hmm.
from the publishing really makes you feel you're doing something right. That if your people are that people are or if people are getting out there finding your books, and most importantly are willing to fork over a couple of ducats for them, God, that's
Yeah.
validating.
Yeah. And your books aren't listed, they're really short and they're listed. They're only, like $3 or so if you buy it, and they're available for the KU. So people get the option to do either or.
Right.
And they're cheap enough and they're fun bite-sized stories to just, if they're perfect for if you're in the middle of a long, Wheel of Time length series that you can stop and
Have a brain break.
short little break and then get back to the heavier, more intense material that you're reading. And they're perfect for that because it really just takes a day. Like it takes a day. I think listening to it, I usually have it at 1.5 speed when I listen to it. Um, I think it only took like 3 or 4 hours to listen to it at that length. So I mean, you really can just sit down in an afternoon and read these stories. Of course, that was also me pausing it too because I had to keep.
Actually, I have not even, I haven't even heard what the reader voice sounds like for those. So
Oh, it's
I
hilarious. So funny. So, uh, when you have a name like Mr. Poppet, it says Mr. Poppet told you, da, 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 da. And like it takes the
just an odds
period at the
pause.
end of Mr. as if it's the end of a sentence.
It's probably kind of scanning that next word, saying,
Yeah,
how do I pronounce that?
because it is an AI voice that's doing it. It's
Right.
not an actual narration of it. And so it pauses at weird spots sometimes that don't need to be, or it'll spell out certain words. And so you have to kind of go back and go, wait, I need to see what that is saying. Like if they capitalize a word, sometimes it spells it out when
just
they
because
capitalize
just
it.
because it's like,
Yeah. Because it's like, this is do new words, but it's not. And so it's really funny because sometimes it doesn't do that. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And
right.
so it kind of switches. And then um if an author does use names or words as the chapters, sometimes it gets a little weird because it reads that and then just goes into it like it's part of the first sentence of the chapter. So it doesn't, there's no preference of chapter 1 or chapter 2 or just moving on. It reads that number or that name to you of the chapter.
Right.
And so when it's a number, it's easier to tell because you hear the 1, the 2, and then immediately words, and you're like, okay.
Right.
But when they use actual names, you're like, wait, what? Who am I talking? What happened?
but yeah,
So
but yeah,
it's really funny.
I can bet.
Getting
But
used.
it sounds like at the end of the day that if I ever want to try to get these things on Audible or something along those lines, I should hire a narrator.
Yes, and if you look back, I interviewed a narrator, and she did
Okay,
an amazing job. Her name is Danielle McMath. She's an independent narrator.
cool,
And look back through and find her and negotiate with her because she does it independently. She doesn't go to
nice,
anybody.
nice. Well,
Yeah,
definitely, I should write that down.
yeah. So that's one thing I wanted to try to do is get some of like the narrators too, so that they start getting announced to the. I could learn them a little, be like, oh, this would be perfect for you, or this
Right, right.
is more.
Just to break the thing up. Go ahead and send me that information in
Yeah,
Discord when you
absolutely.
get a
I will
chance.
send you her information.
Beautiful.
Absolutely, I'll send it. And I can send yours to her as well.
Okay. Because yeah, like I said, I'm 13 plus thousand words in my latest manuscript,
Mm-hmm.
and I can really get the feeling that this one might go someplace.
Yeah, nice. I really hope that it does for so many reasons.
Thank you.
For you, for my friend, for you being an indie author, for you know, it's a I really feel like it's exciting for me that you're finally, because we've been hearing about your little side stories and oh, I was thinking about this and what do you think of the, through our games and stuff for so long.
Right.
It was so fun when you were like, okay, so I finally started actually doing this and here, I want you to read it. And just the fact you were so willing to share that with me made me so happy.
Yeah,
Uh,
you were pretty red pen on my on you know on that on the first on the fantasy chapters that I sent your way, and I was like, well,
well, not because
it,
it
it wasn't viciously red pen, but it was more
was.
like,
Yeah, and I was in editing mode at that point too because I was doing a bunch of other stuff. So I was already like in the mode of okay, we've got to do this, we've got to do this, this has to change here, that has to change there. Because I was doing arcs where they were asking me to help with editing
yeah,
and stuff, so I was already in that mode. And so when he said that to me, it just kind of continued.
you,
And after I sent it back, I was like, that was probably a little much since he just was like trying to see general like
and I
storyline.
started writing the fantasy novel out longhand.
Yeah.
Um, and so it pretty much what I sent Rebecca was a straight transcription of what I had written in my notebooks. And so I knew that I would have to go back and expand this or explain that or touch this up, or maybe this sentence moves over. I could easily drag and drop this sentence over here just to improve the flow. And so I was like, yeah, okay, I know all this. I know this is going on. And then I get the red notes back, like, damn, she wasn't like this when she was my player.
And this is the first time that we've actually talked about where I've done some editing stuff because I would not consider myself an editor, but I am an avid reader and I can understand at least to an extent the flow of a book, just like anybody. But when you're writing it, it's
Yes,
a lot different because you know what you're trying to say, you know what you're getting at, and that's why they have editors. It's not because, and a lot of people that edit books, especially in the indie world, is they send it to other indie authors to edit. So it's not that they can't, but doing that for yourself is incredibly difficult.
absolutely, because I mean, the cliche of you can't see the forest for the trees
Mm-hmm.
is absolutely apt in this situation. You, as an author, you have to have the humility of saying, this doesn't work. Um, you have to have the humility of saying, well, I really love this character, or I really love this sentence. I really love this description, but it's totally wrong for the feeling of the scene,
Yeah.
you know? So you do a lot of self-editing to begin with, but even then you are, like inches away from the project. And sometimes you just need to have that, fresh set of eyes that has more of a gestalt view of your work. And you just have to have that humility of saying, okay, red pen me.
Yeah. And that's a hard thing to accept, right? Like being able to accept that it can be kind of difficult. Um,
Oh yeah, we're
but
egoists. We
it's
are we are we are this close to narcissists in terms
scary.
of our work.
It's scary because you have this baby and this thing that you love and you've put your heart and soul into it and you think it's worth sharing and someone comes back and says, well, it could be better here, or it could be better there, and you're like,
That's
well, how do you
acceptable.
know?
Yeah. That's it says, hey, it could be better here, or it could be better there. I really like what you did here. That is the kind of that is the kind of criticism and editing that is, encouraging, inspiring.
That's what I tried to do with my red pen, but I did go a little overboard, I think. Um, but again, I was already in that mode. I was helping a couple of authors with novellas that they had sent me arcs for that they asked, for edits on. And you just happened to send me that little tidbit and said, hey, what are your thoughts on this? Right while I was like in that mode. So, but I like the story, and I know I've asked you several times since you sent it to me. So have you gotten any further? Do I get to read the next chapter? Are you going to send me?
I have I
So
have about two-thirds of the first volume of my manuscript transcribed.
nice.
I have written about a third into my second volume before I hit I wouldn't say really call it a writer's block, more of a world building block.
Hmm.
Because if it was a writer's block, I wouldn't have transitioned and started this other project or other series of projects. It's
Yeah, it's
more of
figuring
the
out that religion. The
yeah,
yeah.
because that is it's one of those funny things of I know how sewage works in this world.
But you
I
don't.
know I know how when they dump the water or when they drain the tub in their apartment in their little house, where it goes. I know it goes through this way, and even though they may not understand the microbiology or the microbial sciences of 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 purifying water and things like that, people have known to boil shit for years,
Yeah.
you know. So I built the sewage treatment
Just one
system.
second. The dog's barking at something.
Okay.
Murphy, Wheelie. Thank you. Come on. Meow. In the room. That's a good boy. Let's shut the gate. the the people across the way are doing construction on their house, and sometimes the saws get going and the
Yeah.
nail guns get going, and he starts freaking out a little bit about
I
all.
have a next door neighbor that throws parties several Saturdays. Great people, love them to death. They brought over some caldo and some empanadas one day. But, you know, Tejano music cranked to like 9 from their outdoor patio. at 9 o'clock at night, you just say, I love my neighbors.
Well, my goodness. So the funny thing is, I just realized I didn't put the microphone down close to me. So it's up there.
Well, other than your little cackle fit a few times, you've been coming through pretty clean.
Well, that's good. So I wonder if it'll actually pick up the dog bark this time. Because last
I
time
didn't think it picked up the dog bark. You did mention the bark, and then you got up to take care of the dog.
he's trying to make me right now because he got mad because I closed the baby gate, so he can't go bark out the window at the people across the street.
Uh-oh.
So he's being demandy right now.
Yeah.
So I'm moving my mic down.
Okay.
Willie. Murphy. Parents like, what are you talking about, Mom? I'm already at your feet. Because he's talking to your brother. This happens sometimes.
You have dogs. I'm surprised that my cat hasn't jumped in.
Thank you. We'll see if that'll keep him calm enough for a minute to get back to your train of thought.
Oh, I think it's fallen off the tracks, rolled down the hill, and it is sitting in the gully at the moment.
Yeah, that can happen. So let's so you have your fantasy project that you're working on, but so you're kind of working on two projects right now because you have the main fantasy one that is the goal that we're working towards the religion for.
Yes.
Figuring out how that's going to work.
Yeah.
Come here. He goes, Perrin's in the way, Mom.
You're living up to the title of your podcast.
Yes, the dogs do like to make appearances. I have to rearrange my desk right now. Usually you can kind of see them, but I knocked my camera holder off when I was trying to move some stuff around, and I have not had a chance to finish doing that and moving it. I'm gonna hopefully not make people sick. If you look at my feet here,
yep,
there's that one. And then the demandy pit bull right there.
And there's Murphy.
Yep. Mr. Murph. Get your ball. Where's your ball? Get your ball. Where is
I
it?
don't envy you the editing job you're about to do.
Oh, a lot of times I just leave it in. So we'll see what happens.
It's that raw footage of just real conversations.
Unless it takes a 5 or 10 minute stint, I usually just leave it in if it's only like a minute or two because it's life, and this is, I want it to feel candid.
Well, you've definitely achieved that.
Yeah, and Murphy is definitely helping right now. He's trying to tell me he's boss today.
Right.
He has been trying to tell me he's boss all day. He goes, I behaved yesterday. You want me to do it again today?
What is wrong with you?
So
I am here. Pay attention to me. I'm Murphy. Pay attention to me.
Good job. Get your ball. He licks his ball and then goes.
Is that something you could say on this podcast?
Now I know why you went to spicy books. So that was oh boy. Yes, it is. I talk about spicy books a lot on this podcast. I know you've seen one or two of the episodes.
I have.
So so your books, talk about the other one that you're working on right now, the drummer one. Tell us a little bit more about that one.
Okay, well, that one is that one's been a drain. It has been an emotional, physical when right physical for writers is kind of weird because we don't really kind of writers sit or we get up and pace.
Mm-hmm.
This one has been a brain drain, but in the best possible way because you're really just opening yourself up to this wonderful cast of voices in your head. And then these little voices start forming and becoming kind of like people that you can actually sit down and have conversations with. And that part has been a joy. Yes, this one is spicy, but in terms of like pure spice, this one is definitely more of a romance.
Okay.
And you approach that kind of you approach it well, I love my characters.
Yes.
You know that I love to try to give as much personality, even into a character as banal as the guy that makes the wagon wheel that you
Yeah.
meet in a
Our NPCs were more detailed than my character started out. I had to start going, wait, I'm gonna need more background information on my character than what I created if he's gonna make his NPCs this detailed. Like, so I started having to create more background to stuff that so I started adding stuff in the further we got along because your NPCs were so detailed. I was like, I feel so like subpar right now.
but it's that process of trying to create we back to that genuine conversation we had earlier. That's what we strive for. And in uh even in the spicy stuff, if you can make the spicy stuff feel genuine, and that is a really big that's what I'm going for, is that the spicy stuff doesn't feel cookie cutter or anything like that. It feels like a genuine, okay, we're going to use another allegory here because my brain is going in 50 different places. You know the musical, right? Just the standard musical rule.
Mm-hmm.
When you get there, you have the speaking parts and you're just explaining things, and when the characters are just so overcome with emotion and things like that, they sing.
Right.
Completely unreal, but genuine.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like what you're going for when you're writing a romance.
Yeah.
You're putting these characters and together, and you're trying to make their world genuine enough that when they're just so overcome with the emotions around them, they have to sing. And sometimes that's a spicy part. Sometimes that's a reflection of what they are feeling at the time. Um, and that's kind of like where I am, and especially when you're writing about musicians,
Mm-hmm.
you are really tying into that kind of like they're performers, they perform. And it's been fun because I'm like I said, I'm 13,000 some odd words into this piece. It's my longest piece yet. Don't ask me how long it's going to be because I'm going to give you the answer that Michelangelo gave Pope Julius in the Charlton Heston Rex Harrison movie. When will you make an end? When it is finished. You know,
It's still figuring itself out. It's not there yet.
there are parts that that are really having that I'm really having to think about. because my central couple is a drummer of an all-girl rock band. And so I'm showing them the band's growth from being openers to headliners at their club. So I have the band with all their voices that they have, that are unique to them. Then I have my romantic lead hero and how he interacts with the band, or at least with the drummer, because he actually hasn't met the whole band yet. He's gone to the shows. He's gone to a couple of shows, but it's that interaction of worlds kind of colliding. And so how does he react to, he's, of course, he's savvy enough to see an act when he sees it. So when he's finally paying attention to the lead, to the front man, or the front woman in this case, and her absolutely, almost burlesque act as the front woman, he knows it's an act. So, but I deal with how, like, I do have a scene where how that character is actually getting into that persona. And so I have the five bandmates that have a tight sisterhood. I've got the romantic lead, and what his interaction is, building up the growth of a drummer who's holding down 2 jobs and being a drummer and writing music, that kind of thing. So it's been an absolute fun, glorious, what the hell am I going to do next? Why does this work? Why does this doesn't kind of brain drain? And I'm sure that a lot of the other writers that listen to you will just be nodding their heads right now. It's like, I know that feeling. And it's just been a joy. It is just, like I said, it's just been an absolute joy to try to put this puzzle together in my head. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, so now where am I going to put the big spicy scene? Not where in the story, but where in the setting will the big spicy scene take place? Because I can't be here because X, Y, and Z. It can't be here because A, B, and C, because that would be inconsistent with the characters. It can't be over here. Well, like I said, it can't be in a hotel room, because a hotel room is where you just not, it's impersonal. It's a hookup. This is not, they're not hooking up, So yes, that the big spicy scene is down the line, but it is one of those things that it's already on my head. It's like, where is that explosive musical singing act of intimacy, as they can't talk anymore, going to take place? And so that has been the thing that's on my mind. Currently I'm writing, I just wrote a scene after that takes place right after the band's first headlining show. And so I show the band in the green room, which is a little area, kind of like a dressing room, where they're getting set up, away from the stage. And the fact that this club has a green room means it's a higher tier club. It just shows them in their exhausted state. And it was, I think that was some fairly decent writing.
Nice.
I think that was some really decent writing that I did there, and some good character interactions.
Well, I'm excited for when you finally get it done. 'Cause it sounded
I
like that book's gonna be able to come out before your fantasy book, uh,
Yeah,
unless
yeah.
you have an epiphany on that religion situation for that book.
Epiphany, good word for talking about religion.
It's one of my favorite words. Um, so I try
But yeah.
to find reasons to use it. It's fun to say.
Epiphany is a very fun word to say. But but yeah, so it's one of those things. This book has become a I want to do right by them kind of story.
Hmm.
And even my spicy stuff. Now, maybe not so with the first one, because that was a just straight up experiment of, can I write something spicy? Can it be fun? Can it be flirty? Can it be a little titillating? Can it be a solid kind of story? Can I create a unconventional spicy heroine
Hmm.
and still kind of like, yeah, here are the tropes that she definitely tropes being worn on the sleeve, but can you use the tools to build something interesting?
Yeah.
And apparently it was an interesting listen with your kind of like weird AI pause here voice.
It was. And like I said, I shared it within the group of authors that I've been interviewing and in contact with, either purchasing their own books and stuff. And they've definitely taken a look at it, and they've, obviously listened to it and or shared it, because like you said, it's not very big, and royalties from KU are notoriously small. Um,
Unless you get the big churn,
yeah.
they are. That's just a matter of fact. But the fact that KU is not for the current release, I'm coming to discover it's for the back catalog.
Yeah.
you know and if you could build a good back catalog and get that churn going on your back catalog, that is kind of where that should be. And that is a place, and I'm glad it's offered,
Hmm.
and I'm glad for the little bit of I'm glad for right now the trickle, but I only have 3 books out, or 3 even short stories out.
Yeah.
you know um KU, for the people that have like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, I don't know. How could you write all those many?
Well,
You know,
most indie authors don't have that many.
you
Most
know,
don't get to write full time where they have that many. I think the largest I've seen any of them have is 30, and I believe they had transitioned to being a full-time author years ago.
right.
That they had that privilege, and and it is a privilege to be
It
able to
is.
do
Absolutely it is. And I hope
especially
to,
with costs of publishing and everything. Even with Amazon being cheaper and KU being cheaper, and making it easier, it's still a cost. And
yeah, you have to, it is a cost of your time, your effort, your energy, your love for the game, your love for your work.
mhm,
And then, it could, like in my case, I started publishing in November. And so I am an absolute I have zero presence really on social media. I haven't done the hustle.
mhm.
And quite frankly, I don't like the hustle. I don't want to hustle. That's not,
But you have to, at least a little
you have to
bit.
play the game. And I don't know the rules of that game yet.
Yeah.
And I haven't been able to compartmentalize myself to do the hustle. And I just want to get the next story done.
Yeah, you'll get there. I think one thing that's going to be very important for you, um even outside of social media, is to make sure you have a website, a Jason Drake website, where they're going to be able to purchase your books or go, link to the KU versions. I do think and what I've been seeing a lot of authors do, especially with all the AI stuff they're doing with Kindle, is a lot of authors trying to transition to, buying from them personally, things like that. So those are all things you'll think about eventually, and you'll have to figure out which road and path is right for you, obviously. But having a place where people can go to, where they can see what you're working on next, any appearances you've made, that you can link things to, that's going to be really important. And you'll be able to put that at the end of every beginning or end of every one of your books that you do get published, so that they can continue to find you.
Okay.
And I almost feel that having at least that is more important than the social media.
Good
Uh,
point.
I might be wrong. I'm not an author. I haven't gone down that road.
I would say
Personally,
I would say hosting a podcast and things like that.
but
That counts.
but my experience with, trying to find the authors and where I can do stuff, their social media is great, and I love listening to their things and seeing the things that they do. But where I go to get the meat of the information, of where I find their books, what else they're up to, is always their webpage. It's the first thing,
Okay.
because it's going to give me an easier findable condensed version, as
Right.
opposed to trying to scroll through every post they've made to say, all the things that they're up to, because I'm only going to get to see like the last like 10 things they posted. And if they
Right.
post, 1 to 2 times a day, that's a lot of research to go through those posts.
At that point, if you're posting 1 to 2 times a day, I'm not going to finish that. I'm not going to finish
Some
the
people
thing.
manage it. I don't know how,
I don't know
but
how.
they
It's
do.
just
Um,
when I'm in writer brain, that's pretty much it's almost put the blinders on and like, oh, wait a minute, I have to eat.
yeah.
You
But so for me personally, I prefer going to their individual website
Okay.
and then using those links that they have on their website to get to their book, because a lot of times they can set it up so that they end up getting not just the royalties, but the royalty from the link that takes them to,
Right. Right.
depending on
The
how it's
that
set up. And so the most I can give back to an indie author, the better. And so
that affiliate link is a little extra.
yeah, and so sometimes even if it is only available on KU, they can use that affiliate link to get there
Right.
and things from their website. They can, some authors, you can buy the books directly from them, which I try to do whenever possible. When the money's there, because it gets expensive trying to do this. If it wasn't
Yeah.
for you,
Being
I
a
would not
sponsor
be
is
able to read everybody's book.
right.
Um,
Okay.
So, like, I couldn't imagine the cost of buying every single author's book that I've done an interview for if I didn't have KU. Maybe one day I'll get to a point where I can actually buy the physical copy of every single one of them.
Well, some of them don't
But
have physical copies yet.
and there is that. There's a few like you don't have a physical copy yet. Right now
Yeah.
it's KU.
Right.
Um,
We need to. It is approaching 5:30
oh
for
my God,
me.
we get carried away.
We did.
We got,
We did.
I do that
So I'm
every
going to go
time.
ahead because I need to go. I need to go make myself some supper, and because I
Yeah, that's
have a
probably a good idea.
definitely. Okay,
It
Rebecca, it
was
has been
great
great
to
to touch base with you.
Yes, it was so good to see you again and to get to do this, because you've been so busy writing, we haven't even done our D&D. So thank you so
And
much.
my work schedule's been all over the place.
Yeah, it's the way it goes sometimes, so
It has.
I understand that. But thank you so much. I've really enjoyed talking with you. Everybody, Jason Drake, he is on Instagram. I will put that above there. I'll get him to post things eventually. And we'll get a website up soon. He's
Okay.
his debut novel is out on KU along with 2 other novels, and he's got 2 more in the works. So definitely follow him, definitely get updated. If not through him, probably at least through me. So thank you, Jason. Thank you,
Thank you,
everybody.
Rebecca.
We'll see you guys next time.
All
Bye.
right. Take care.